All right, what is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Today we are checking out the Wampler Brent Mason Rewired. If you're unfamiliar with Mr. Brent Mason, Google that dude. He's played on thousands of songs, many of them are hits. He's a top shelf first call session musician. He's known for his incredible country playing, but at the end of the day, he can play anything he wants. He's an incredibly versatile guitar player. He's just a beast. Look him up. Okay, this pedal is a collaboration between the aforementioned Brent Mason and Mr. Brian Wampler. Now, as I understand, there's a pedal before this one. It was called the Hot Wired. I believe there was a version 1 and a version 2 of that pedal. I am not familiar with that pedal, so I can't speak to it. I can only speak to what's going on with this pedal. But as far as I can understand, this is a continuation of that collaboration between Mr. Wampler and Mr. Mason. So what is this pedal? It's a dual channel pedal, distortion on one side, overdrive on the other. The two circuits are completely independent of each other, which is really cool. The distortion side of the pedal is more kind of pointed towards that British punch. It definitely has plenty of saturation for lead tones. I actually gravitated to the distortion side for the rhythm passes in the demo song. On the overdrive side, it's a fatter, kind of warmer, more spread out overdrive that's incredibly versatile. Both channels sound really good. On the overdrive, as far as parameters go, you have level, gain, fat, and tone. We'll definitely check out the fat control. It's really handy. On the overdrive side of the pedal, you've got level, gain, fat, and tone, just like the distortion side, but with an added control called blend. The blend is allowing you to essentially blend in the clean tone to the overdrive circuit. It sounds really cool, makes the pedal very versatile, and we will check that out in the demo for sure. As I mentioned, because these two circuits are independent of each other, they can be used at the same time. So if you want to change the path of the circuits, you can do that via a switch that's in the center of the pedal. When the switch is to the left, it's overdrive into distortion. When it's to the right, it's distortion into overdrive, and those differences are definitely apparent. We will check that out in the demo. You've got great signal routing options, so if you're using this pedal on a switcher or just want to route things differently on your pedal board, you're good to go with separate inputs and outputs for both circuits. Two soft touch switches, which I always really dig with high quality relays. The left switch is for the distortion, the right switch is for the overdrive. This pedal can be run at 9 or 18 volts. For demo purposes, I'm running it at 9 volts. So let's check out the Wampler Brent Mason Rewired. Okay, here's the guitar straight into the amp. And here is the Rewired. Okay, let's start with the Distortion side and check that out, and then we'll goof around with the Overdrive side, and then we'll blend the two together so you guys can hear how that sounds in the different order situation. So we'll start on the Distortion side. I kind of gravitated towards this side. I like the top end. It almost had kind of like a Marshall thing to it. But let's start with let's just start with the gain range, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so that's the gain range. It does clean up nicely. If I turn it all the way up, it's a good amount of saturation, but you can still back it off and it'll clean up. So that's what's going on with the gain. We'll leave it about right there. I showed you what the level can do. You can definitely push the amp with that. Let's check out let's roll the tone control, and then we'll check out this fat thing. Bang. It goes nice and dark, and I always say, if it starts out bright and then just goes from bright to cracking your teeth out of your skull, it's too bright. So I always appreciate pedals when you shut the tone down. It's going to get really dark. I'm only going to do that once. Yeah, I like this tone control because it doesn't get like overly barky or nasally as you start cranking it, especially past 12 o'clock. And especially for kind of a stingy blues thing, I really like the sweep of that. So that's what's going on with the tone control. Let's check out the fat control. As I mentioned earlier, it's low end and from what I can hear, low mids as well. So it's a really nice feature. If you're trying to get it to sit in the mix, you can easily dial it in, but maybe you're playing this through like a little 1x12 combo and you need more lows, or maybe you're playing it through a 4x12 cab and it's getting a little too woolly in the low end. You can quickly dial that out. So that's what's going on this side. Let's check out the Overdrive side. I'm going to start with the blend control. When it's all the way counterclockwise, that's all overdrive. As I start turning it clockwise, it's going to start adding the clean signal in. So obviously as you turn to the right, we're not losing gain. We're just mixing the gain basically out of it. And I really like this. I mean, for the obvious reason for what it's doing within those parameters, but also it's just a really great kind of tone enhancer if you're going to kind of start blending out of the circuit a little bit, out of the overdrive. Now you're just getting some grit, you know. So that control alone is kind of worth the price of admission. I'm going to go ahead and put the blend all the way back to just all overdrive, and let's check out the gain. Good amount of saturation there. As you crank it all the way to the right, you know, you might want to turn down the fat, you know, because it's going to add low end as you do that. But that's what's going on with the gain. Let's check out the tone control. I'll turn down the fat so we can hear more of what's going on there. Now this tone control does add a little bit more of that kind of bark up top as you get past 12 o'clock, but that's what's going on there. Fat control does the same thing. I feel like it's a little more apparent on the overdrive side. The same concept applies. Just like I said, it's more apparent. So that's what's going on with the blend, tone, fat, and gain. Now let's try stacking these guys. Right now I've got it set up so the overdrive goes into the distortion. So I'm going to dial it with a little bit less gain, maybe a little bit less level. And then just add it to what I've got going over here with the distortion. I don't think that was right. Okay, so what if we, God, I'm playing terrible. What if I just switch the order? I actually like that a little bit better. But you get the idea. You can get plenty of gain out of it. I'm inclined to turn the gain down when I'm stacking these. So let's get usable sounds on both sides. So in other words, I'm not tweaking something only to fit stacked. We'll start with the overdrive side. And now let's see what this sounds like. Now we'll add the overdrive to it. So there's a lot you can do. Obviously, you know, dial it into taste, but that's how I'd dial it up, so that I had two usable sides and then both sides would stack together without any retweaking. So that is the Brent Mason Rewired. If you've got any other questions about it, definitely go to the website. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.